Well, what is 73 yards? 73 yards is Welsh folklore. It's a bit spooky.
What was it you said last week? This felt like a really good first draft. Like, it felt like, some nice ideas here, but you didn't quite stick the landing in the end. And I've left asking questions as an audience member I don't think I should be asking.
Yep.
Like, so wait, how does she stop the nuclear prime minister happening if by going back in time and being a crap version of the Haunting of Hill House bent neck lady?
So the Doctor and Ruby land in Wales, and he immediately knows it's Wales. He doesn't have to lick the air. And then they go outside, and he loves Wales. It's almost like a Welsh writer is talking about it. I've never been to Wales. I don't know if it's actually any good. It does look pretty. I'll give him that.
I went to Wales twice, once accidentally because we took the wrong eggs off a roundabout, and then second time was intentional.
Well, your stories are just as interesting as Ruby Sundays. I've been to Wales twice, one to see a musical and one to break a boy's heart. They get into it immediately. Like, this is a Dr. Lite episode, and the Doctor's gone in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm often here going, hey, what are the characteristics of this Doctor? So far, not checking where his feet are going. Like, that's twice now.
I didn't even think of that. 2 episodes in a row, he stands on something,
and which makes it kind of
trouble.
funny, considering that he's one of his first lines in the first episode is him saying, "Who steps on shit?" Remember in the butterfly? How
he
about I
does
step
say.
on? And then he's proceeded on 2 occasions to step on things that cause problems.
At least he didn't say, "Watch your feet, Ruby." Like, that would have been a great, like, supercut of "Watch your feet, Ruby," and then, like, bang, 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 bang.
Maybe he's dyspraxic. Maybe that's it. Ryan rubbed off on him and he's giving him a bit of dyspraxia.
No.
Why did I choose this face?
It's because of Ryan. So that's 2 episodes in a row he stood on something, but we didn't get him crying, so that's a plus. I think they actually made this one because he was on sex ed. I think this was a sex education.
Oh, really?
That's what I had heard ages ago.
Because it wouldn't have been Barbie, because they did Barbie before.
Yes, and
Doctor.
this was shot like May last year. Or ish.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, this was a Dr. Light episode, and it's almost lighter than every other Dr. Light episode. Like, even Blink, the Doctor pops up a bunch in it.
This is Russell going, no one remembers turn left.
I didn't even think of that. I mean, it's not that
It's not the same, but
it's a little bit.
I love it that Shooty probably
until
just
the
got
end.
up and walked off. Like, he obviously, for the effect, would just
Oh,
got up
camera
and
trick,
walked off and just probably went straight to his car, straight to sex education.
The other thing that comes back from 2 episodes in a row, not being able to watch where his feet go, 4 episodes in a row, 3 episodes in a row, he doesn't solve the problem. Or the problem is Deus Ex Machina.
Once again, I mean, it's an overall problem for me. We don't have enough context for this whole show yet.
If this is your jumping on point.
If this is your jumping on point, you're like, it's Doctor Who about the chick and he's just some background guy. Because it's 2 episodes where he's been kind of, for whatever reason, been put aside for 2 episodes in a row. And also,
somewhat side.
And I was going, that's why they maybe put the Beatles episode at 2 instead of 6, because at least it was a more traditional Doctor episode.
He's the most active.
Because that means now, in a linear sense, you've had fairly naff space babies, landmine boom, and now no Doctor at all. They probably were, whoever was in charge of distribution was like,
we need to give them some Doctor.
We need to give, just have 2 traditional, like, Doctor Who-y episodes.
I think Boom would have been a fun opener.
It seems like next week's is another, like, we're following some random character in a Black Mirror situation.
It did.
And Shooty and them are just there. I'm like, can I just get a basic bitch episode, please? Without any foreshadowing of Snow, just a basic bitch episode.
It could be the fact that maybe RTD has written so much Doctor Who, now he's trying to write
specials every time.
Yeah, he's trying to do something more interesting than just a Doctor Who episode, because he's written 35 Doctor Who episodes. I don't know. We do talk a lot about the overall season because it is kind of the most interesting thing. It's more inherent to this season than any other season we've had before. Like, it feels like this season lends itself to thinking about it as a whole season. Probably not as much as Flux.
Every Doctor got an episode where they just got to be themselves. Matt Smith, probably the most obvious. Like, 11th Hour is just, it's Matt Smith figuring shit out. Even David Tennant, even though he's in bed the whole time, they still gave him 5 awesome minutes where you're like, this Doctor's cool. Capaldi. And even fucking Jodie in a shit episode still got an episode where she got to post-regenerate muck about. But she just hasn't got that and hasn't had an episode where it's all about Doctor doing Doctor things, unless you want to count the Christmas episode where he got to do it a bit more Doctor-y.
Yes. That still feels like the most Doctor-y he's been, minus a couple of very
It's the only episode where he actually had the official uniform on. I know he's always changing outfits, but I wouldn't mind him just wearing the outfit just a little bit more.
It helps the icon status. It does. Like, there's a reason people cosplay.
It's a hero, you know?
Because the man can't watch where he walks. he immediately steps on, not a landmine, he steps on a fairy circle.
Yeah, and then at A, we've invoked the whole line, so like the earth and sea at war, salt lines, some kind of lines. Yeah.
Yes, Ruby reads out things.
Yeah.
She picks up a scroll,
like
reads
memories,
it, and then he vanishes.
And the doctor's
And then he's
gone.
literally just gone for the next 45 minutes. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, he's
As in
completely
a good
gone.
way. I'm glad they did it because it's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting they did it. It would have been more interesting if this was like
they
episode
resolved
9
it.
or 10 after 6 episodes of regular stuff, so we got to know Ruby and Doctor a bit more.
You see, no, I think this was a good one to get to know Ruby.
Yeah,
I don't think we super did.
I learned that she must have great skincare to be still looking like she's 19 when she's 40. I
they
thought that was
tried.
going to be a reveal. I thought someone was going to go,
she was
like
trapped in
a
time?
perception filter. Someone was eventually going to go, you look really good for 40.
Although they showed her dating a man that also looked about 20.
Yeah, so when she got off and she was old, I actually expected it still to be. I was like, is it still just going to be whatever the actress's name, still looking 19?
I was like, no, please
because
don't.
that will be fucking hilarious.
But then they didn't, at
But no,
least.
they actually just got to know who did a better job at playing Ruby in a
Oh, I liked her. She was nice.
She was so
anyway,
good.
anyway.
Sorry.
So the doctor's vanished, and then Ruby's like, "Oh, where's the doctor?" And then she potters around for a second, and then sees a mysterious woman doing.
It finds it.
This.
I thought witchcrafty, religiousy stuff. I couldn't really make sense of what she was doing, which was part of the point. It's one
She
of those.
was rubbing her, so like doing this, and then she was like gesturing a little bit. She was doing a
Yeah.
lot more than they would allude to her actually having been doing later
Yeah,
on.
like I thought, because at first I'm going, oh, someone watched It Follows. You know, instead of it walking, which is what makes it scary in that film, I guess Russell or.
I don't mind. I think it's still pretty spooky if there's someone.
I like the
always.
distance of like that you can't quite make out the face. You can't quite, because you don't get a full look at her hand motion. You
Yeah.
don't quite see what she's meant to be doing. That stuff was really good.
I think the start of the episode is quite strong.
She sees the fucking woman. At first, she's kind of weirdly playful about it. It's not. She
Well, she
doesn't.
just thinks it's
she's
some
not
random.
super clear. There's a bit when she kind of dashes forward, a little bit excited, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, you were always this distance from me."
Yes, they didn't show that well.
Yeah, they didn't
Like-
show that. They didn't make that clear.
Because they're on such a long lens when they showed it, it kind of just looked like the camera might have been in a different spot. Not so much that she was always further away, because they had no real landmark.
Well, you probably didn't know this technical stuff more than me. I thought this was probably the best looking episode, particularly when she was in the hills and the
And
mountains.
the pub as well. The
Yeah,
pub looks great.
looked great.
Like, it did make me think, because again, I was so pissed off. I made half a video that I never released about why the Jodie Whittaker era looks so garbage, because it was
Low angles and barely any lighting.
yes, and it was basically what felt like high school
Saturated.
students given really expensive gear. So then they just shine RGB lights on everything, and everything was like flaring, and they had cool anamorphics, and like, look how good we are, guys. But whereas this actually looks like professionals, like it's because it's Bad Wolf shooting it. It's Bad Wolf Productions. Bad Wolf also shot his Dark Materials and stuff. So
Oh, cool.
They're they're a real production company that works with Sony, and they do real things. So it's like it's nice to see.
Meanwhile, the Jodie era had writers who never done Doctor Who, and I won't be surprised if you got cameramen who never held a camera.
That's what it felt like. It really did feel like that. But this show actually looks really, really good now, which is hilarious because like you could never say that about Doctor Who previously. So the show at least looks good now. But then Ruby goes
Runs into
Oh, Susan Twist. She is in this episode.
it's our
I thought
direct interaction. Having met you before,
they did send me. I thought the lady at a distance. I thought that It Follows was Susan Twist until Susan Twist rocked up, and I'm like, oh okay. And then they're actually talking, and she's like, "Don't I know you?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, we're actually going to get some Susan Twist lore maybe." But then she's like, "Oh okay, bye." And bugs
Yeah.
off. But then we get the first. The super interesting part of the episode, which is, or the crux, I guess, where anyone that talks to this spooky woman at a distance, immediately horrified, runs away from Ruby. And it happens 3 or 4 times throughout the episode.
yeah, they run away from Ruby, but it doesn't seem like they run away from their life, unless they're a nuclear pro prime minister who then quits being a prime minister.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They run
Well,
away.
I guess the guy quits coming to the pub, so there was
but
some
that's because
quitting
Ruby's
element.
there. So it's like he doesn't want to be near Ruby and the woman, which
Ah,
I got.
right.
So she goes to the pub. All the scenes in the pub look great. It's actually probably the spookiest part of the episode. Like I thought that was going to be
For a
the vibe
second, I
going
thought
forward.
that was the whole episode. I
Yeah.
thought we were going to do a Hateful Eight
I
all
thought
in
it
a
was
pub.
small town.
People were going to disappear one by one, leaving Ruby by herself.
Yeah,
because
I
there was such a defined group of people.
Yes, we had Adam Lambert. We had there was
we
also
had
another Zoomer.
We had a older actress who I've seen crop up in a few.
We had
things.
our fourth creepy old woman of the episode.
Yeah,
This episode loves old women.
For a second, I thought it was going to be like 2005 with the whole weird humor of how do you pay with your
Which
phone.
didn't hit me during.
Didn't hit.
But I laughed after. Like,
Yeah.
during, I don't know whether it was direction or what, but, like, the joke itself didn't land, because I think I was thinking, like, it wasn't it's
don't know what year it
2005.
is.
I was already thinking, is this woman stupid? She doesn't know what year it is. But we hadn't been told what year it is. I think it was just confusion which dampened the humor. But then after they were like, oh yeah, it's 2024. Like, we have online banking. You idiot. We're not in the dark ages.
Like maybe that was the joke that she's assuming because we're Welsh in a village, we mustn't have this stuff, but it just
Yes.
wasn't.
But, like, I was thinking you have to be stereotyping them for that joke to land. Whereas I was more thinking about Ruby doesn't know what time she's in. And then afterwards, I'm like, haha, that was good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
No. It was just a weird moment that stuck out to me.
It could have been direction.
The scary stuff. That the woman is good. She was shot well initially. Like, it was quite, harrowing. We've touched on that.
And all the stuff in the pub, they start talking about the folklore of, it sounds like they're making up who Mad Jack is.
Yeah, I thought it was a play on words like magic, Mad Jack.
Oh, maybe.
I thought it was a play on that.
but then like, anyway.
Because that scene confused me.
It again dampened the feeling of the episode with humor. Like, it felt like that was a
But then
really
all of a
spooky
sudden,
bit, and I thought it
that
was going to
stuff
be good.
became prevalent because when the Prime Minister guy is going, people called me Mad Jack. I'm like, oh, so that shit
Yes.
was important?
Well, Ruby goes back to the TARDIS, and we get an interesting moment, which I think was bad for her character, if anything, and mainly, again, bad for the series as a whole, because she goes up to it, and the Doctor's gone, and she thinks the Doctor has just locked her out for some reason. She doesn't think he's vanished because of magic. She thinks he might have just locked himself
Which
in
he
the
might
shed.
have done if he approached the woman, but I don't think he did. It's not clear exactly what the Doctor,
Yeah, he's
where
just
the Doctor
gone,
went.
and he doesn't come back. Like, in that
even the
timeline,
TARDIS, because
surprise.
really he would have just hopped in the TARDIS and flown off
If he left, yeah.
if
but
he ran away.
because she thinks he's in it. She talks to the TARDIS as if it's him, and she says, I might just go home. I haven't even known you that long.
Yeah, like, it's weird they're playing on that so much that, like, we've only had a few adventures.
It's Space Babies Boom, then this.
Yeah.
Which is what it was supposed to be because they moved Devil's Court in from episode 6. But it's just funny to hear her say, oh, we haven't even been together that long, when we know there's been a 6-month time
You
jump.
always solve everything.
So it's like,
yeah.
they should have just deleted that line, and it makes this go away.
Just edited it away.
It would make this more interesting if Ruby really was like, we had a good 2 adventures, but I guess you don't want to talk to me again. But she's also not really upset about it. She just goes, oh, I'm just going to go home. I don't know.
Yeah, like, there seems to be well, once again, it's because you don't know much about this character.
It's just a very plastic way to do it. Like, if she thought, or maybe if he did talk to the woman and then he ran away, she would feel like he's just being a big dick to her. And
Yeah.
that would be the friction we're after, right?
Yeah, for me, I don't know much about Ruby. I don't know much about this Doctor. So when things like this happen and Ruby goes, oh, I guess it's just how the Doctor is. I know, obviously, something's wrong because the Doctor, at his core, wouldn't do that. But then, because both these versions are so unknown to me still, I'm like, okay.
I feel like if she knew something was wrong, maybe it'd be more interesting, because she's like, oh, the Doctor wouldn't have just left me.
Yeah, but then she
instead
goes back home,
she
which
just
makes
goes back home.
sense. That she's a 19-year-old, she's in Wales.
If she was annoyed at him, it would make
just go
sense.
home.
If she thought he ran away, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But because he's just vanished, she's just like, oh, I guess he's gone. But then, yes, you're right. She goes back home, and then turns out the woman that's always a particular
there.
distance away, turns out 73 yards, if you guess the title, is constantly following her. You notice that on the train back, no matter where she is. There's always this woman 73 yards away. Her mum comes up with a clever idea of, oh, well, I'll let you talk to her on the phone so that you can actually discuss. But then mum turns and runs away, and then the mum will never talk to her, and the mum changes the locks on the house.
Yeah.
And it's really, really
You're not
dramatic.
my real daughter. We have a fairly nice shot of snow with the...
Yeah. The mum locks her out, and Ruby's upset about it, but really not overly that phased, because we start just skipping through time.
Yeah, because then we go
She gets on
to
with her
we're
life.
25 and we've got long
Which
hair.
I missed the first time. My wife had to point it out to me. I missed the birthday cards.
Yeah, the actress is actually 19, but most people were watching it probably would assume she was in her mid-20s anyway, when she actually is the
Which
age
was
that she
fine. I'm
is.
fine giving her long hair, but then they put her in glasses and smear a bit of
reckon
cornstarch
she's
on her
40.
head. and call her 40.
And like, look, I'm not saying 40-year-old women are decrepit, but they're not 19.
They're not 19.
Like, I'm not. I look different when I was 19, and I'm 30.
But then she's going on dates with guys that look like you. And
yeah.
So then it's like, well, she's not 40, or she is 40, looking 19, going on dates with 30-year-olds.
They just were like, and I was there going, this episode's so weird already. If you just want to say that she's somehow time locked in that moment and she's not aging, that would be more interesting, because you've already brought up the perception filter.
Kate Stewart says the line, I think this timeline must be suspended along your event.
Right. That to me felt like a really big, like, what do you mean timeline? But she just kind of says it.
It's a weird thing to say.
The idea that unit, there's parallel universes.
They're the TVA
now. So I was there going, okay, but that seems like a really like big line to say, and no one's reacting to it.
And Kate Stewart's in it because somehow Kate Stewart finds Ruby and comes and talks to Ruby about the woman.
That she's the carryover all the way from Matt Smith.
It's fun. I like her.
Yeah.
She's good. Lethbridge Stewart does all her government-y spec ops stuff to go talk to the woman, but then all of those people run away, and it's less run for their life and fear again. It's run away from Ruby.
Yeah, just
and
completely
they all look
cut
at
her
Ruby,
off.
and it's eerie, I guess, but it's not spooky.
It's just eerie, and then the fact that Ruby isn't driven mad by it. Instead, she starts getting a weird comfort from her, which would then reveal that because it is her. So then
not till later on. I guess she's never heard her, so she's always
she's the only
around.
Ironically, she's the only consistent thing in her life.
Yeah, and then we start skipping
leave.
through the years so dramatically just to get to 2046, where Roger Ap Gwilliam is running for office, because in the intro, the Doctor has a single line about, I love the Welsh, except this one Welsh Prime Minister, Roger Ap Gwilliam, who almost sent the world to nuclear war.
It completely flew over my... I did think it was really funny when he was like, what year are you from again? I thought, that's a fun line from the Doctor.
Yeah, because it is such a brief line.
Turns out his policy is get nukes now.
It worked.
Yeah, but it's so weird that was he was openly like, they never even fired nukes in the Great Russian War 2030. Pussies.
Ruby's watching him on the TV, and he's saying all the same problems we have now, which I guess is a commentary that maybe war never changes, but instead it just feels like it's not 2046 if we're just saying the exact same things
there's some
that happen now. It's just not
weird
interesting.
reference about like, that's app, by the way, not apps like those things we used to have on our phones.
Yes.
I mean, app as in of Wales. So like, such a weird, like, I mean, I guess he wants, it's been 20 years. There should be a bit of difference. If you look at the difference between 2005 to 2024, there's a lot of things that are different in terms
of tech. So what do we have now?
So what would it be in 20 years?
But then she literally just uses an app on her phone. So it's like, that's stupid. But he's talking about his policy, and it is... Everyone's worried about the cost of living crisis, all of these things that are literally like right now. I'm like, well, that's the least interesting thing you could do, is just to parrot now and say, ooh, commentary in it. Things don't change.
He really likes bringing in his little political commentary, old man.
People always say Doctor Who's always been political.
It has.
But not every episode. And not constantly, not forefronted.
Sometimes it can be a little bit more hidden.
So Ruby has a bunch of failing relationships over the years.
Which she doesn't seem to care about.
And then by the time we're in 2046, she looks at Roger Ap Gwilliam and goes, that's the guy that the Doctor mentioned
this is why
40 years ago in passing.
20 years ago.
20 years ago in passing. Which I get is fine because it's the last moment she saw the Doctor, so you probably would burn that into your
somehow
memory.
Related to that, because he goes, people called me Mad Jack. Mad Jack.
Which she
stepped on the Mad Jack
on
thing.
the TV.
But only joking. But that whole Mad Jack stuff was then revealed to be just a joke by the people in the bar.
Well, maybe they were just riffing on actual folklore.
Yeah.
That's the problem with this episode. Nothing is clear.
Nothing's clear.
And not in an interesting way. It's me going, the fuck is happening?
Yeah, you're asking the wrong questions as the audience member.
I'm not asking whatever Russell T Davies wants me to ask.
Yeah, Westworld had that problem.
Which
you're
is that
asking
again?
All the wrong questions.
It's just RTD in his own head. He knows everything, and he's like, "Oh, Russell, you're so clever," and then only half of it makes it to the screen.
Yeah, because then it's like, I know why I'm here now. It's like, what? There was a reason why you were here.
Yeah, it's like you would have been there anyway. It's not Harold Saxon. It's not you accidentally came back in time just in the right moment, and the Doctor, and it's not that I know that voice.
I don't understand why the guy was just nuke happy. Like there was nothing about him other than he was pro-nuke.
Politicians in commentary.
Is he trying to say that a politician could be shouting, I really want to find nukes, and we'd still vote for him?
We would.
And maybe that's the point. Like, Don't Look Up had the whole, like, we could literally have a meteorite in the sky, definitely about to hit Earth, and people would still ignore it.
Yep.
Even if it was as clear as that, because that's what global warming is.
That movie sucked.
Oh, that movie sucked.
People fucking loved it. Heavy weighs the hands that has the message.
Yeah.
I don't know. Heavy-handed message is what I'm trying to say. But she decides that she needs to stop him. And to do that, I'm like, oh shit, we're getting some Ruby initiative. She's going to do some stuff. And then she walks into his field office and says, I want to do stuff.
I'll even carry the coats.
And then cut to her carrying the coats.
There's been some good cut moments in this episode, like with the woman there at night and it's daytime, and then there, straight away, we cut straight to her.
So you're a big fan of transitions in this one?
Maybe I've just been watching a lot of Wes Anderson of late films, you know.
Anytime a character's in the middle, you're like...
Match cut, yeah, you did a match cut. Edgar Wright, Wes Anderson.
Filmmaking.
Yeah.
She's not positioning herself close to Roger. She talks to him like one time in passing, and then he goes off to flirt with a girl who then decides he's a monster. It could have been interesting, but he's not even the bad guy of the episode because, again, all we have to go off is that he's nuke happy, and the Doctor said, oh, except that one Prime Minister that almost brought the world to war. Because I guess that means that the Doctor knew about him, so Ruby could never get close. Because if Ruby was actually friends with him, the Doctor would go, oh, I know Ruby from that Roger Ap Gwilliam thing. But instead, she has to stay at a distance so that the Doctor didn't say, oh, Roger Ap Gwilliam, the worst president, you know, the one that you got rid of in 2046. He wrote himself into too many knots, maybe.
Yeah, because then the way she gets rid of him, because she then reveals, I had to be sure that he was bad.
Before that, he's doing a big thing for Prime Minister. He's about to get the codes.
He wants 10,000 people. They brought the nukes off from Pakistan.
I don't know what the 10,000 people or the not touching grass was about. Maybe he was going to put a fairy trap on it or something, and he was going to use those people
just because
somehow.
they wanted, if you didn't say keep off the grass, then no one would have made a big deal of her being on the ground.
Okay, yeah. So it was also that people pointed guns at Ruby for standing on the grass.
She was aiming and
pointing a
device
phone
at him, at the Prime Minister, basically.
An app from her phone. But my thought was, wouldn't you be able to tell how far away you were if he's on the end line and you're at a football stadium?
I'd also say that, I mean, obviously, you just do it. It's meant to be like a countdown for our benefit. But if she, for the majority of her life, has had a woman perfectly 73 yards away, she probably becomes really good at being able to just self-measure what 73 yards is at any one point.
And because she brings that up to Lethbridge Stewart, so she's the one that knows that it's 73 yards.
So she probably would be able, by that point, to eyeball it pretty well.
Oh, she talks to the not girlfriend that's terrified of him, and she's like, oh, he is a monster? Cool. And then she stands 73 yards away, which is funny because that's a circle. But obviously the woman wanted to be next to Roger Ap Gwilliam because that's where she appeared. Because otherwise she could have been 73 yards behind her.
He looks at her, does a runner, quits everything.
He's different from everyone else because everyone else just runs away from Ruby / the woman. But for the last 10 minutes before that, I thought, oh, fuck, this is a two-parter. Because so little had happened. We'd spent so long just getting through Ruby's life. Then I'm like, this has to be a two-parter so we can do something interesting in the second part. But instead we get a Deus Ex as always, with this season as always.
And the Doctor not solving anything again.
In fairness, he wasn't there, but yes. Yeah. And then he runs away, and unlike everyone else that just runs away from Ruby and the woman, he quits being a politician, he resigns, he is defeated.
More relaxed, nice Prime Minister, we're told quickly. More relaxed, nice Prime Minister will come in. But by the end... She's old. She's ready to die.
Yeah, so we just keep going through time.
Yeah,
it's like that doesn't solve the problem, and the Doctor comes back or anything because she defeated Mad Jack.
And the actress they have does a wonderful job of sounding like a miserable old woman in a home. Like, I used to make it snow.
That was
I'm
so
always
funny.
Lonely, but I'm never alone. I'm like, God, I heard my granddad say random shit like that too.
That was my biggest laugh, was when it's like, okay, Grandma, let's put you to bed, because she's like, I used to make it snow.
We can turn the lights on and off with words. And she goes, oh no, we did that when I was young.
Which,
like,
again,
they do such a good job
that
with old woman Ruby. I was there going, man, what if the Doctor had a 60-year-old companion?
I had the exact same thought. I'm like, you know what, let's keep the old broad. like that would be, because we've always had like old Doctor, young companion.
What if you flipped it?
Old ass woman being like, fuck Doctor,
Zimmer framing
what are we doing?
Yeah. Then all of a sudden you get the reveal, which you kind of
She
were
falls
guessing.
asleep in her bed, and then she just
and
wakes up in the
reverberates back
field
for whatever reason.
for no reason.
It turns out the hand motions don't mean anything.
No, because don't step and
Yeah, like it was
Are not
looking-
related.
Not related. I thought it was like some
73
witchcrafty
yards?
thing.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't mean anything. And then
Russell said, I stood in a pier to find out exactly how far 73 yards was from somewhere else. Why?
why?
Just so
I
he
don't-
could be like, you know what's a creepy distance? 73
Maybe
yards.
73 is a number that means something in Welsh folklore.
That's what I'm... It's just confusion. It's just
Yeah.
questions.
So then she then sees her, but then in doing that, tells the doctor to not step on. I knew the moment we were going forward in time, like when it was 1 year, I was like, oh, maybe the doctor comes back. But the moment it was she's 40, I was like, okay, we're gonna reset. We're gonna Groundhog Day reset.
I knew we were going to reset, but I was still hoping for old Ruby Companion.
Yeah. So when it's all over, I'm like, well, how does she stop the Prime Minister then if she's not on that timeline?
Someone else has to do it in 20-something years.
It's not clear.
Nothing's
It goes
resolved.
from being a weird horror, like, who's this woman following me, trapped in a Welsh village horror story, but then it becomes such a grander scale, stop nuclear holocaust.
Yeah.
I was just very confused.
Ruby has no agency. As in,
She's kind of rolling with
until the
things.
last second, I got nothing from Ruby except that she's willing to leave things alone for 70 years. She's like, oh yeah, her mum never talked to her again, mind you. She's like, this is fine for 70 years. The whole episode just happens around Ruby. She's entirely passive, even with the curse and the woman. Like, everything just happens to Ruby the whole episode. Until she holds an app at the very end and somehow manages to do
She
that.
holds the app.
She does nothing. App it up.
App.
It's just, yeah, it's a nothing episode of great confusion that had very interesting moments occasionally,
Yeah, but
but it
I was
didn't
just
give me
left
anything for
being-
Ruby, and also it reset Ruby anyway, so anything she learnt on this journey
Yeah.
is gone.
yeah. So unlike the Catherine Tate turn left, where you she does take those experiences
And she
back with her,
remembers,
she
yeah.
remembers it. This isn't the case, and then we're left pretty much where we started. Apart from you see Mrs. Flood briefly,
Yeah.
and you see
To remind us she exists.
You see Susan Twist, which are two separate old women characters.
Which they might not meet, or they might still meet because
Like one of them maybe is the
time
Rani. We don't know who
reset.
the twist is.
Doesn't
We
matter.
don't know we don't know what the twist with Susan Twist is. Other than those two little, hey, reminder, these exist. One could argue you could skip this episode.
100%, which is sad. I didn't not like the episode.
I never will feel the need to watch this one again.
Yeah.
Like when I'm rewatching through this series, I will skip over this. And I do with other Doctor episodes. Sometimes I'm like, don't need to watch this one again.
Yeah, it's an interesting episode that he didn't take to anything.
You know, I'm shelving it. I know this might sound bad. I'm placing it with that fucking 2012 season 2 Olympic episode where the Doctor runs the torch.
Fear her.
Who gives a fuck
Not a
about that
Fear Her
episode?
fan?
Who gives a fuck about that episode? I like it less that I spoke about it because it actually didn't do anything.
So again, we
It
kind of
wasn't
like
freaky.
we like the Christmas special a fair bit.
Like Christmas, Space Babies is looking all the better. And
Shit, Space Babies top 5
yeah, the Beatles one is fine. Boom is probably the strongest one, but that's not
still
saying
has
much.
issues. And then this one, I'd put this one above Space Babies, which is weird considering there's no Doctor. Well, I wasn't conflicted because it wasn't
No
like-
anything.
But it wasn't. Space Babies actively annoyed me because the Doctor went out of his way to save a booger.
Yeah, but there was no anything.
I'd rather watch this again than Space Babies. If I had a
Sure.
choice, this over Space Babies.
I just watched neither.
Fair enough. Tell us down below. Also, don't forget to please subscribe. We're like 200 and something away from 1,000.